electronic music is everywhere. It's the pulse of nightclubs and festivals. It scores our favorite movies and video games. But what exactly is it? Simply put, electronic music is music made with machines. Synthesizers, drum machines, computers. These are the instruments of the trade. From the start, electronic music was different. It embraced new sounds, strange noises, and futuristic beats. And in doing so, it changed how we listen to, dance to, and think about music forever. Electronic music wasn't just a new genre, it was a revolution. No longer did you need a full band and expensive instruments to make music. A single person with a synthesizer could create entire sonic worlds. This opened doors for countless artists. It democratized music creation. Suddenly anyone with an ear for sound and a bit of technical know-how could become a musician. This led to an explosion of creativity, with new sounds and styles emerging all the time. From its humble beginnings, it grew into a global phenomenon, influencing everything from pop music to fashion to art.
Long before the dance floors and festivals, electronic music had humble beginnings. In the early 20th century, inventors and composers were experimenting with new electronic instruments, creating sounds never heard before. One such invention was the Theremin, a strange antenna-wielding instrument that produced eerie, otherworldly tones. Composers like Pierre Schaeffer were cutting and manipulating tape loops, creating rhythmic patterns and abstract soundscapes. This technique, known as musique concrete, pushed the boundaries of what music could be, using everyday sounds as building blocks for composition. These early experiments laid the groundwork for the electronic music revolution to come.
In the 1960s, a new wave of instruments emerged, forever changing the landscape of music synthesizers. Unlike traditional instruments, synths could generate a vast palette of sounds, from warm analog tones to harsh futuristic noises. One of the most influential early synths was the Moog synthesizer, created by American engineer Robert Moog. Alongside synthesizers, another invention revolutionized music making: the drum machine. These boxes of rhythm allowed musicians to program their own beats, freeing them from the limitations of human drummers. This paved the way for the relentless, hypnotic rhythms that would come to define electronic dance music.
From the industrial heartland of Germany emerged a band that would change the course of electronic music: Kraftwerk.
Formed in Dusseldorf in 1970, Kraftwerk embraced technology, not just as a tool, but as a central part of their identity. Kraftwerk's 1974 album was a turning point. Its title track, a 22-minute ode to the German highway system, became an unlikely international hit. With their minimalist aesthetic, robotic stage presence, and lyrics celebrating technology and urban life, Kraftwerk created a blueprint for electronic pop.
Their influence resonated across genres, inspiring new wave bands, synth-pop acts, and countless electronic music pioneers in the decades to come. As the 1980s dawned, electronic music was about to undergo another seismic shift.
A new generation was forging something entirely new: electronic dance music, or EDM. In Detroit, Juan Atkins, Derek May, and Kevin Saunderson emerged as the godfathers of techno. House music, pioneered by DJs like Frankie Knuckles, was built on infectious grooves and soulful vocals. Trance, emerging in Germany, was characterized by soaring synths and hypnotic melodies. These genres became the cornerstones of EDM, each with its own distinct sound.
Detroit, a city synonymous with the American automotive industry, might seem like an unlikely birthplace for a musical revolution.
But beneath the surface of this industrial landscape, a vibrant underground scene was brewing. Juan Atkins, Derek May, and Kevin Saunderson, known as the Belleville Three, began experimenting with synthesizers and drum machines in their bedrooms, drawing inspiration from a diverse range of influences. Detroit techno was music born from the city's industrial heart, reflecting its post-industrial decline yet also offering a sense of hope and escape.
Word of this new sound spread beyond Detroit, carried across the Atlantic by DJs and music enthusiasts.
Clubs like Tresor in Berlin and Berghain, which would later become a techno mecca, provided havens for this burgeoning subculture.
Detroit techno, born from the ashes of industrial decline, had become a global phenomenon, a testament to the power of music to transcend borders and connect people through a shared rhythm.
While Detroit was giving birth to techno, a different but equally influential sound was emerging from the streets of Chicago house music. It was music for dancing, for losing yourself in the collective ecstasy of the dance floor. Pioneered by DJs and producers like Frankie Knuckles, Marshall Jefferson, and Larry Heard, Chicago house took the raw energy of disco, stripped it down to its essential elements, and rebuilt it with the futuristic sounds of drum machines and synthesizers. House music was infectious, its hypnotic rhythms and soulful vocals impossible to resist. From the clubs of Chicago, house music spread like wildfire, first to other American cities like New York and Detroit, and then across the globe.
Chicago house, born from the heart of the black gay underground, had become a global phenomenon, a testament to the power of music to break down barriers and create communities. While techno and house were igniting dance floors in America across the Atlantic, electronic music was taking a different, more symphonic path.
Jean-Michel Jarre, a French composer, emerged as a pioneer of electronic music spectacle. Jarre's vision was grand, using synthesizers not just to create music, but to paint sonic landscapes and tell futuristic stories. Albums like and became international bestsellers, introducing electronic music to a wider audience who might have dismissed it as cold or mechanical. Meanwhile, in Italy, Giorgio Moroder was weaving electronic textures into the fabric of pop music. These tracks, with their pulsating beats, synthesized orchestrations, and summer's soaring vocals, became disco anthems, bridging the gap between electronic experimentation and mainstream pop.
Jarre and Moroder, each in their own way, expanded the possibilities of electronic music, showing the world that it could be both spectacular and accessible. By the late 1980s, rave culture was sweeping across the UK, fueled by the relentless beats of acid house and techno.
Led by the enigmatic Liam Howlett and fronted by the frenetic energy of Keith Flint and Maxim Reality, the Prodigy was a sonic and visual assault, blending hardcore techno with punk rock attitude and a heavy dose of visual spectacle.
Their music was loud, aggressive, and unapologetically rebellious, a far cry from the smooth sounds of synth pop or the introspective depths of ambient music.
The Prodigy's live shows were legendary, a fusion of punk rock energy and rave euphoria, featuring Flint and Maxim as manic ringmasters whipping the crowd into a frenzy.
They were more than just a band, they were a cultural phenomenon. Their music and image reflecting the anxieties and aspirations of a generation coming of age in a world on the brink of a new millennium. As electronic music continued its relentless evolution, a new wave of artists emerged, pushing the boundaries of the genre even further.
This new movement, dubbed Electronica, rejected the confines of the dance floor, embracing a more experimental, often introspective approach to music making. Their music was often challenging, defying easy categorization, but it was also deeply rewarding, revealing hidden depths and intricate details with each listen.
Electronica embraced technology, not just as a tool for creating sound, but as a means of exploring new sonic territories, pushing the limits of what music could be.
This new breed of electronic musicians wasn't interested in creating dance floor fillers. They were sonic architects, building complex soundscapes that invited listeners to get lost in their intricate details.
The rise of electronica marked a turning point, demonstrating that electronic music could be as complex, nuanced, and emotionally resonant as any other genre. beyond the beat fashion, festivals and fusion. Electronic music's impact extends far beyond the realm of sound.
From the outset, electronic music fostered a distinct sense of style. In the 80s, it was all about neon colors, baggy clothes, and a DIY aesthetic as ravers embraced a look that reflected the music's energy and non-conformity. Electronic music festivals, once underground gatherings, have become global spectacles drawing millions of attendees each year. These massive events such as Tomorrowland, Coachella, and Sonar are more than just concerts. They're immersive experiences featuring elaborate stage designs, breathtaking light shows, and a palpable sense of community.
Beyond its own distinct style, electronic music has had a profound influence on other genres. Visuals have always been integral to the electronic music experience, adding another layer of immersion and sensory stimulation.
In the early days of raves, it was all about DIY projections, lasers cutting through smoky warehouses, and dancers adorned with glow sticks, creating a sense of otherworldly euphoria. Today, massive LED screens, lasers, and pyrotechnics transform festival stages into immersive digital canvases, synchronizing perfectly with the music to create an overwhelming sensory experience.
VJs or video jockeys have become artists in their own right, crafting real-time visual narratives that complement and enhance the music.
The fusion of sound and visuals is central to the electronic music experience, blurring the lines between reality and digital art, creating a space where the senses are heightened and the imagination can run wild.
Electronic music fosters a global community, united by a shared love of the beat and a sense of belonging.
From underground raves to massive festivals, electronic music events dissolve social barriers and embrace differences.
This unity connects people across borders, creating a global tribe.
Within this community, countless subcultures have blossomed, each with its own sound and style.
From techno to trance, dubstep to electronica, each subculture enriches electronic music.
This constant evolution ensures electronic music remains vibrant and ever-changing. No longer confined by physical formats, EDM spread like wildfire, reaching new audiences and inspiring a new generation of producers and DJs. The 21st century saw electronic music explode into the mainstream, once relegated to underground clubs and warehouses. EDM now commands massive festivals, dominates radio airwaves, and influences every corner of popular music.
The rise of digital music and streaming platforms played a crucial role in this global takeover. Suddenly, access to this vast world of sound was at everyone's fingertips.
Subgenres like dubstep, trap, and future bass emerged, each pushing the boundaries of sound design and captivating listeners with their innovative use of bass, rhythm, and atmosphere.
Superstar DJs like Calvin Harris, Skrillex, and David Guetta became global icons, their faces plastered on billboards, their music soundtracking countless commercials and Hollywood blockbusters.
Pop stars like Lady Gaga, Rihanna, and The Weeknd incorporated electronic elements into their music, collaborating with EDM producers and DJs, further solidifying the genre's influence on the mainstream. What's next for electronic music? The only certainty is constant evolution. New software, hardware, and production techniques emerge all the time, empowering artists to push creative boundaries.
VR and AR are revolutionizing electronic music experiences. Imagine attending a virtual rave or witnessing breathtaking visual spectacles.
AI is making its mark on music creation, generating melodies, harmonies, and entire tracks.
Some fear AI might replace human creativity, others see it as a powerful new tool.
Electronic music will continue to push the boundaries of what's possible. From the eerie sounds of the Theremin to the throbbing pulls of EDM festivals, electronic music's journey is one of constant reinvention. It's a story of outsiders and innovators pushing technological boundaries and challenging conventions.
More than just a genre, electronic music represents a way of thinking, embracing the new and the future. it consistently challenges the status quo.
It democratized music creation, empowering anyone with a laptop to become a composer. It broke down geographical barriers, connecting people through a shared love of the beat.
And it blurred the lines between art forms, fusing music with visuals and technology. This legacy of innovation makes electronic music enduring.
The future of electronic music is a vast, uncharted territory. New instruments, new sounds, and new ways of experiencing music will emerge.
Virtual reality concerts, AI-powered composition tools, and biomusic are just a few possibilities. The human element will always be at the heart of electronic music.
It's the human ear that discerns beauty, the human heart that connects to melody, and the human body that craves dancing to a beat.
Electronic music is a human expression, reflecting our creativity and emotions.